The US election is finally here today, and one altcoin is already seeing a lot of attention from it. But will Bitcoin pump from here, or are we going to see more downside before any price rally? This is your Altcoin Buzz News. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Cody, and if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when I drop latest content. Follow us on Twitter, Altcoin Buzz IO, and as always, not financial advice, and wish you the best of luck in your crypto ventures. Alright, you guys, so it is finally the election day, and starting off today, Bitcoin's price outlook hinges on the 2024 US election outcome, according to some analysts. Now, Bitcoin could see heightened price volatility following the US presidential election today, obviously. At the time of writing on election day, Bitcoin is still subdued under $69,000, so we're still holding strong, just under 69,000 at 68.8 right now. But that could change very fast, depending on how the day goes. So the current low volatility in Bitcoin's price indicates cautious market sentiment ahead of the election results. Everyone's just kind of waiting to see what happens. However, an increased volatility could contribute to Bitcoin's price appreciation, according to Bitfinex analysts. They said if the expected volatility fails to materialize, it may indicate a more substantial issue at play and a much deeper correction for Bitcoin on the lower timeframes. In terms of the options market, apathy to price movements often reflects a more bearish sentiment than a strong put buying. Bitcoin could benefit from a victory from former President Donald Trump, who is generally viewed as a more pro-crypto candidate, and President Trump win could pave the way for the next Bitcoin rally, although analysts at Signum said that this would still happen if Vice President Kamala Harris wins the presidency. They said post-election, the market will continue its upward trajectory in anticipation of the positive regulatory and legislative developments in the U.S. once the new president takes office in January. This is likely to be the case irrespective of the election outcome. However, as market sentiment favors Trump win, the rally could be way more pronounced under the scenario. And so Bitcoin's price was just $200 shy of logging an all-time high before the election, but since then, the Trump pump has kind of played out. And so they were calling it Bitcoin's October rally a Trump pump, as it was seemingly correlated with Trump's rising election winning odds, which on Polymarket got to as high as like 67%, so pretty high, and everyone was saying Trump would obviously win. However, the odds came down a lot more, and it's closer to 50-50 on Polymarket now. Now, they do say, however, the altcoin market is set for more downside in the short term, and so regardless of the election results, the altcoin market, comprising of cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin and Ether, is expected to face more downside. Altcoins, specifically outside the top 10 largest coins, have seen significant downside, which could extend after the election. We could see a little bit of more red for a week or so after, and then we continue up. And I actually have a chart I want to show you guys real quick. CryptoRank has this great chart, and so they said Bitcoin price performance around U.S. election. Historical data shows that Bitcoin doesn't really care who wins the White House. Bitcoin consistently demonstrates significant volatility during the election season, and just look at these numbers. So you see here this is the 2020 election. So starting in September, going until January, we have 0% here, and the green is 2020. So at the election, we were up maybe about, probably 15. And then by middle December, we were up 100% on Bitcoin's price. And so then if we look at the 2016 price, pretty much the same trajectory. And then maybe, 3 weeks into December, we were up at 100%. And so right now, 2024, we're right here. So if we have somewhat of a similar trajectory, we should be up by 100%, or, from here about 75% more, by middle of December, hopefully, if we have a similar trajectory. So that could be huge. That could be like not 200K. That could be like 120K from here. So that could be big, big numbers by December or January. Right now, we're sitting at around 68.7. So I'm guessing we're probably going to just hover around here, wait for whatever happens, maybe dip a little bit. But either way, if Trump wins, we're probably pumping, and then maybe we have a little bit of sell-off and then continue pump towards December. If Harris wins, then we have probably a dip for a little bit. Eventually, we come back up and then, continue upwards. So either way, it's not that big of an issue. Bitcoin will pump. It's just which one will be, when will it happen? Titan of Crypto says, for many, one party needs to be elected for Bitcoin and crypto to react positively. I don't think so, he says. Historically, whether it's Democrats or Republicans who take office, crypto and Bitcoin surge regardless. And he shows this chart from, the 2012 election, the 2016 election, the 2020, and the current 2024. And also Cointelegraph shared the trend of each U.S. election is typically Bitcoin's price floor. And so if you see here on Tuesday, November 2012, we have this floor forming at $11. Then in 2016 at $719, and then in 2020 at $14,900. So you can see each of these, it pretty much goes up for for a couple months afterwards, And so it looks pretty good. We just have to be a little bit patient right now and I guess get off the 1 hour chart. And then moving on, we have Aave, and whales are apparently dumping Aave. So one whale withdrew 25,000 Aave, or $3.3 million worth. Another whale withdrew $1 million worth. Another one 1.29. Another one $1 million worth. And they seem to be dumping Aave. And Aave is just not looking so good on the chart here. Yeah, not looking amazing. I'm thinking we're probably coming back down to this $120 support level. If you see here on the daily chart, this is very similar to that BART structure that we talk about, where we have this trend, and then we start making lower highs, and then we come back down, and eventually we then consolidate like this, and then over time we make new higher lows, and then we continue up. So Aave is not looking so great right now. It's probably in line with the U.S. elections, where we think the altcoins are going to kind of underperform in the next week or so, but then eventually they'll catch up. But I mean, Aave overall is doing good things, and Mammon says something similar here. He says this has been a strong performer and is reaching its interesting demand zone right here. Price retesting a former range high level as support, so bulls will want to show up here soon to avoid acceptance back within the range. This is also the area where the 3-day structure should be defended, so nice area to look for bullish triggers. Bears are strong in the lower time frames, so I got to see some good things from the bulls before pulling the trigger. However, the whole blue zone is a major point of interest for me to scan for longs. Basically the same point of interest that I put at around $120. This area is where we want to see it hold. If it breaks below here, we're not looking too good. We're heading back down towards $100. So yeah, hopefully Aave can catch a bid here and not go too low. Did you know the oldest and one of the biggest Bitcoin Layer 2 networks is making some big moves? I'm talking about Rootstock and the Rootstock Collective. The collective is launching its first DAO on Rootstock. Now it can go fully decentralized and community-based. So let's take a look at the Rootstock Collective, the first DAO to launch on Rootstock. Rootstock started in 2018, making it the oldest Bitcoin Layer 2 network. And just last month, the Rootstock Collective DAO launched. And the team is celebrating with a huge event on Galaxy that includes 3 different quests. All the quests use the same Rift token that projects use to build dApps with the Rootstock tools. The Galaxy quests go from now until December 18th, and you can win your part of $17,000 in prizes. So check out Rootstock Collective's quest on Galaxy today with the link down below. Then we have Solana, however, which institutions are pouring millions of dollars into as the US election voting begins today. So Solana's price has seen an interesting mix of resistance and support in the recent weeks, especially with the ongoing efforts to break above the $186 barrier. But despite several failed attempts to breach this level, institutions remain optimistic about Solana's potential, as shown by increased interest from prominent investors. According to a recent report from CoinShares, Solana has emerged as one of the top choices among institutional investors for the week of November 2nd. Solana's inflows reached $5.7 million, just over half of Ethereum's 9.5 million inflows, but so far above any other altcoin. And these numbers indicate sustained interest from institutions, reinforcing Solana's appeal as a leading blockchain network. And institutional support for Solana has continued despite the broader crypto market's ups and downs, really more so downs right now, demonstrating long-term commitment from significant investors. And so Solana has seen good interest here. You can see 5.7 million. All these other ones, really only Ethereum's kind of up a lot, and maybe well, there's a lot of interest in shorting Bitcoin as well. So really not a whole lot of interest other than Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, and shorting Bitcoin. So Solana is one of those top ones, and we continue to see it as one of the best performers, especially more so than ETH, which is not looking great. But I mean, it's holding strong. We talked about this on Sunday in the TA video, where it came down here to this level actually right after we filmed that video. It came down here into the support, and it is testing it beautifully especially on the 3-day. If we look at this, this is what we want to see. Now, unfortunately, it's probably not going to look as beautiful when we go into elections, and it might get a little bit tricky where it comes down. Maybe it breaks down a little bit more and then comes back up and then reclaims. Might happen, but I think Solana is looking amazing right now, and this is exactly what you want to see on a higher time frame from a large cap altcoin and one that's kind of leading this market. So Solana overall still looks amazing to me. This is exactly where I would want to be longing. I would want to be buying more spot. It looks great to me. And then moving on, we have Mantra, who partners with Libre Capital to facilitate tokenized money market funds. So Layer 1 blockchain Mantra, which has been on the news a lot lately, and United Arab Emirates-based token platform Libre Capital aim to drive further adoption of tokenized real-world assets. So on November 4th, Mantra and Libre Capital announced a partnership leveraging the combined strengths to offer on-chain funds to managers, institutional, and accredited users. I think we're going to continue to see a lot of RWA news and funds and layer ones and different RWA projects coming out next year. And that's probably going to be one of the main narratives because it's the easiest to kind of quantify, especially for TradFi, is bringing money on chain and how we can kind of monetize that. And so I think RWA is going to be one that I'm going to start investing in more heavily as we go into 2025. Manager stated that the collaboration will use its purpose-built RWA blockchain along with the Libra's tokenization and issuance capabilities. Together, they aim to provide on-chain access to investment opportunities in hedge funds, money market funds, and private credit funds. Now, Manager Chain launched its mainnet in October and recently partnered with Google Cloud, which is a validator infrastructure provider. And one of the goals of the partnership is to bolster Mantra's real-world asset market, Bit Accelerator program, and RWA Accelerator program will go live in the first quarter of next year. Now, Mantra, or OM, despite how bullish the news is that keeps coming out, the price chart says otherwise. And we've marked this out before. We have all these stops here below these wicks here, and I think all these are going to get run at some point. We have that huge airdrop of $75 million worth of OM tokens that could potentially be dumped. And we had this huge run. I mean, we had this even bigger run up since the beginning of 2024, but we've had this huge run up in recent months from September. So I still expect especially after we had these lower highs hit, we've wicked into support multiple times now, and we're falling below. Once this level of support gives right here at $1.26, I think we're coming back down here to $1.04 and taking out all these stops below here. But then I think on the high time frames, this is going to be a good one to accumulate if you want to buy spot Mantra, and I might do that as well, somewhere around this $1 zone. And then we're going to continue upwards in 2025, hopefully, with a lot more RWA news. So that's it for the news today, guys. It is a big day. It's election day. Not sure when we're actually going to see the results of this. It might be a day or so. But yeah, whatever happens here, try and stay out of leverage positions because it's probably going to get very crazy in the next few days, whatever happens. So yeah, stay safe out there. Don't lose all your money before the fun begins, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.